Hey Houston, it's Mary Scally with Around H-Town with Simple-elegance, and we are back and so excited to be with you today. And today joining us is Mike Davis with Jackson Hill Properties, and they are in the process of developing a new area in the Heights, and it is called the White Oak. So we'll be talking to Mike about that. But first, Mike, welcome. And tell us just a little bit about you and how you got to where you are and what you're doing now, and what was your journey?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So
beautiful
fun.
facility here.
Thank you.
It's good to see the belly of the beast where you guys keep all this wonderful staging stuff. I grew up here in Houston. I went to college at Texas Tech. Got an engineering degree. So I was always planning on being in construction.
Okay.
My first job was with a big construction company out of Bethesda, Maryland, and we were building the new Enron building downtown. Where it was going to be the new Enron building.
Okay.
So that's where I got a taste for the high-rise aspect of construction. After that, my wife had a great job at the time and made a lot more money than I did. So that project ended with that company, and I needed to find something else to do here in town. So I went to work for the Hanover Company. They were just starting. That's a apartment developer here in Houston, and they were just starting their high-rise product line. This was in early 2000s. So I went to work for them, and that's where I really got a taste for the development side of things, not just pure construction. And it's also where I got a taste for building residences rather than commercial product. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. I enjoyed the idea of building cool things like swimming pools and neat, fashionable places to live rather than office buildings and commercial spaces. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit about me. And then so after the experience with Hanover, a couple other insignificant career stops.
Jumps.
And we started I started my company about, I guess it's almost 10 years ago now. And our first development truly on my own was a project named 1111 Studwood, which is where
that's
I
where
met
we
you
met.
guys.
And
Yes.
oh my gosh, what a fun place that is. Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Thank
That
you.
upstairs on the deck, beautiful.
Thank you.
Great pool, an amazing building, fun restaurant. Best Mexican in the Heights, and the name of that is
The Studwood Canteen is our restaurant there.
fabulous.
Thank you.
I didn't realize that was your first one.
Yes, that was my first one on my own. Yes. Yeah.
Impressive.
Thank you very much. Thank
And
you
now,
very much.
since that one, how many more have you done?
So that's the only condo product in Houston that I've done. So the new project we're working on, it will be my second.
Okay.
We have dabbled around down in the Caribbean a little bit, done some things down there. We own some property that we're developing in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Fun. And what are you doing down there?
So we've looked at several different things. It's very hard in the Caribbean to figure out the market, especially with COVID, and that industry has been decimated.
Right.
So we are still working our way through it, but it will be some type of business model in that we sell units that people will own, but we'll run it as a hotel. So it'll be some semblance of that.
So is it? Let's see, what is it called? Partial ownership? Is that
no,
what
it
it's-
would be different than that.
Okay.
A little bit, a nuance of that. So there's a lot of ins and outs of that model where you partial own a property. So we would prefer to sell to individual buyers that own the entire unit completely.
Okay.
They just choose the time period where they would like to participate
there.
in the rental pool.
Okay.
And we have a sharing agreement on the profit center of that, how that works out. That way you can choose.
And then it's
how
full
much.
Service.
Full service. It'll be run just like a
Hotel.
hotel to a person, an outsider. You would just be renting a really nice hotel room or a suite, or condo unit, even really. The thing that we bring a little different though is that we also do all the toys. So we'll have a full water sports department, scuba diving and wakeboarding and top end equipment there, so that you can really go and enjoy the islands for all that they have to offer.
Very, very fun and exciting. Interesting. Just as you think about, the Caribbean and the islands do get hit with some of these kind of big hurricanes.
Yes.
How did you decide on going to the Caribbean? Did you look at who gets hit the least, or?
No, we weren't that strategic. We just love it. We love it down there. Yeah, we love it. It's just so wonderful.
It is. It's beautiful.
The few times you have to deal with that stuff, we this day and age, you can really design around that a lot. So you'll never get around the immediate shock of a big storm or something like that. But the construction materials and building techniques have really come so far along that after the initial aftershock passes and the infrastructure gets back to operating properly, your investment's fairly protected.
Okay.
You can't promise anything, but
that's true.
But it's they're very sturdy buildings, and we something that is unique about us is we're the builder and the developer. So we don't have a third party that we're dealing with. It takes a lot of friction out of the process. It also adds a layer of efficiency. So our profit model is really built on selling the end product. We don't need to make money on the contracting part of it, so I can kind of pass that on to the development and build a better product and serve our client better that way.
That's great. So let's talk about the next project here in Houston. And I know I've driven by the area, and it is a great area. Tell us where the White Oak is going to be and what's going on. Where have you guys started to break ground yet, or has it been cleared? When I saw it hadn't been cleared yet.
Yes. So it is at the corner of White Oak and Houston Avenue. We are the most southerly easterly point of the Heights. So we're as close as you can get to downtown while still being in the Heights.
Right, and you are like literally right off 45.
Right there, yes.
Boom.
Yep, that's correct.
So,
and then we are on White Oak Boulevard. So the White Oak Bayou is also right by there, where there's a beautiful hike and bike trail that goes right there. It connects to the entire city system of that, it just living in the Heights provides a lot of advantages. There's so much culture there. There's so many wonderful restaurants. Really, I think it's kind of the epicenter of the restaurant scene now, and all of the chef-driven concepts and all the variations of that. The Heights really started redeveloping probably 30 years ago, so it's been going through that process for a long time. There is some wonderful single-family homes there. You can buy an old bungalow and fix it up, or you can scrap it and make something beautiful. We saw when we did our original project there was really no condo, high-rise, mid-rise condo product in the area.
Right.
So we were really the first to do that in the area. Something different that we do also is that we brought the mixed-use concept to a smaller format. So the building that you visited us there at 11 Stewdwood, where Stewdwood Canteen is located, it has a commercial space on the bottom. We only have 20 condo units there, and it's a pretty substantial building.
It is. It's a big building.
It is a big building.
It's like the whole block, isn't it?
It's not. It's a half a block.
Okay, I was going to say it looked like a whole block.
It's only 25,000 square feet of land. So I know that may be hard to believe.
Really?
So we really squeezed it in. You have to with land prices these days. You have to be
true.
very efficient on your land use. But so we only have 20 condos there, so we have a nice pool deck there, but you're only sharing it with 19 other homeowners.
Right.
We can get into this a little bit later, but a lot of the buyers there, this is their second home, so this is not even their primary residence. So you really kind of have your own private pool and backyard space in the sky, where most of the time you're up there, you're by yourself. If you're not, we did design it so that it has several pockets of congregational areas, so that it's easily shared. The new project, the White Oak, we took everything we learned on that project and tried to apply lessons learned. And
so what were some of those lessons that you learned?
One big difference is we're allowing people on this one to customize their layout of their space.
That's huge. Like, who does that?
I don't know of anyone else that does that.
Yes.
Some people may say it's crazy. The only reason we can attempt to do that with any matter of efficiency is that we are the builder.
Right.
So we're not dealing with a third party to try to deal with all the hassles that comes along with challenges that comes along with that.
And they're also getting to pick all their finishes as
they
well.
They are, yes.
So each one will be totally different than the other.
Correct.
Which is amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
So
we're giving everyone a finished allowance there, which is rare. We do have packages set up that fit well within the finished allowance we're providing. The example that I often use, though, if you're not satisfied with our tile selection. You can go to Walker Zanger and pick out really expensive tile. We show the customer the invoice. We mark it up 10% to cover our overhead, and that's it. It's a very transparent process. So you don't have to feel like you're stuck with builder grade appliances or builder grade cabinets. You can really pick what you want and spend as much as you want or as little as you want. If you don't use the full finish allowance, we just credit that back at closing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. However, I have to say, generally people spend their allowances. Sure. It's like I usually have when I'm working with design clients, it's more like, okay, we picked our true dreams. Now let's see what we can slice. So anyway, but I love that you say you can do as much or as little as you want to do. And, that's one of the things that we say in staging. We can do as much or as little as you would like us to do for you, and that just really opens up the whole customization to another level. And now a homeowner, in as we're seeing in building, land is expensive. Building materials are expensive. So we're going up this way. How do you maximize the use of the square footage that you're doing? And it's literally going up. Right. And so we're also seeing that more and more people, and it's baby boomers and millennials are loving this kind of concept. Again, there's no maintenance, which is awesome. Love that whole thing. And, as we're seeing here, baby boomers, as soon as the kids are gone, they're maybe getting a house on Lake Conroe, but then getting an apartment or a condo downtown. So they have both lifestyles, which is awesome. So what do you see as other trends that are going on, especially with COVID?
Everything. I think everyone is becoming a lot more independent with a lot of parts of their lifestyle. So another two components that we did on the new project, kind of an evolution to our business. We really depended on the market to be our commercial tenants. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we are now in the restaurant business. As you mentioned, we have the Stewwood Canteen. We will in a couple weeks have a second concept opening in another restaurant space in that building. So we were very.
What's that going to be?
That will be called a Stewwood Grill.
Okay.
And it will be kind of a modernized version of Houston's.
Okay. Ooh, you're talking my language.
Wonderful. So
I have to say, Houston's is probably one of my favorites in Houston. Have loved it for years. So I'm excited about that concept.
So along those lines, we've kind of everything we do is boutique. A boutique, I just mean smaller, and some will say cooler because it's smaller. So it's only 3,500 square feet of a restaurant space. So it'll be a lot more personalized experience. You won't be in a mass thing, and we just kind of modernize the food offerings a little bit. But it's all very approachable, very normal things that you would expect to see, and I think we're just going to try to execute them on a high level. Non-foo-foo, but yet wife approved. My wife is on to me big time about not having a male-dominated menu. So
it will not be steak and potatoes all the way,
It will absolutely not. She would kill me.
So there'll be some vegetarians and stuff like that. Yes, that's awesome. I love that. I actually gave up meat. Well, I became a flexitarian.
Okay.
How's that? I'm not a true vegetarian, especially when it comes to my husband's spaghetti sauce and veal cutlets. So I was like, I can't give that up.
Okay.
But I'm trying to eat more healthy, and I think we're seeing a big trend towards eating more healthy. Yes. So I will tell you, one of my favorites at Houston's is their artichokes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're only a certain time, seasonal thing. Yes. They bring them in from California, and oh my gosh, those things are to die for. So I'm excited to see what you might do with artichokes.
Thank you very much.
Now, what about, will there be any dining at the new place?
Yes. We will have a new concept there. We're still kind of fleshing out exactly where we want that to be. The idea is, and it'll make more sense when I say the next thing, but it'll be an all-day concept so that you can get breakfast, lunch, or dinner there.
All-day dining.
We have a nice plan to have a nice grab-and-go section where you can do quick things. That will play into the other tenant that we have planned for down there. We're going to do a boutique gym space.
Really?
So it'll be guys that live in the burbs are familiar with the Lifetime Fitness. Equinox is a new one in town. So the idea is taking what they do and boutiqueizing, I don't know if that's a word, scaling it down so that we're going to be on a much smaller format, the same principle we did to the condo building. 5,500 square foot or so. It'll have very, very high-end locker rooms, very high-end traditional fitness equipment, but it'll be automated so that it can talk to your wearable, and your personal trainer can give you workouts through technology. And then we also have a functional fitness area. So the CrossFit type workouts will be available there. And then we're also going to have a hot room there. So hot yoga has become very, very popular. And there's actually other types of exercise people are doing in those hot environments. So we will have a room set up that's capable of that. But all, again, on a very small level. So going back to your question on what COVID has done, I think COVID has caused people to really think about being in very large groups. So we are trying to take that concept and making things smaller so that it really limits the pool of people that you're interacting with. We are also doing a co-working space in this new building. So
really,
yes,
okay,
yes. So we've got about a 5,000 square foot space set aside for co-working. So it'll be something like WeWork did a few years ago. Very cool. Cool environment, loft, very modern looking. It'll have a view of downtown, so it should be really, really neat. Very flexible opportunities there, and you can rent a single office space. So all the things that the perfect example is someone, a big audience that we have found in our previous project, which we didn't really expect, would be the baby boomers. So when you design a loft product in the Heights, you think of younger generation, single people or people just starting a family. And it ended up that probably 80% of our buyers at our previous property were all baby boomers, or at least empty nesters. And we have found that they are getting rid of the larger homes and the property taxes that come along with that. And they want to come down to where all the culture is and where all the experiences are. The Heights is a very golf cartable neighborhood, which is very cool. So we'll have charging stations in the building. You can hop on your golf cart and cruise around and go find somewhere to eat. And it's really neat to do that. And it's everyone's waving at each other and having a good time. So all that to say, the older generations have really clung to that, and they really enjoy that. And like you said, a lot of them have a ranch or something, or a lake house. So they're loving not having to worry about the pool anymore, and not having to worry about the yard. And then I think the unique proposition we're providing is that you can, on top of all that, you can design a really cool space. You can set the room layout like you want it, or you could even have just a big wide open loft space. I don't know if you remember the movie Big.
Yes.
But a scene that always stuck out to me even before I was into this lifestyle was when he became big and he got the loft.
Right.
And then he had the trampoline in there and he was jumping up and down. So you could literally do that in our property if that's what you want, in some big open space. So you could, spend your money on a really awesome chef's kitchen and a really awesome master bathroom, and then leave the rest wide open and have this really unique loft space. That also would give you the opportunity on your second generation sale, when you go to sell it, the new buyer can really make
come
that
in
space
and do
their
it
own
themselves,
and not
right?
feel it,
And so will you then continue to develop that second space for them?
if they want to. That's not really our
thing.
Yeah, we're not really a remodeling. Our focus is on the new product side.
Okay.
But we're there to help people for sure.
Right. So interesting. Now, what have you seen with the millennials living in apartments downtown, with them moving out? It's like that's been an issue, is how do we get them out of the apartments? But I think COVID has kind of done it for us.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of them coming north?
It'll be interesting to see. We have had lots of interest. We don't have any sold contracts yet to the younger. Well, I'll take that back. We do have one.
Okay.
One of them is a younger buyer.
But so far, it's pretty much baby boomers that are.
It is
buying.
mostly baby boomers. It is interesting though. The younger crowd is used to paying exorbitant rents that you have to pay downtown. The high-rise living style has really taken off in the past 10 years. When I started working for Hanover in the early 2000s, I think we were the first new generation of high-rise apartments that came to Houston. There was 2 or 3 that came along at the same time. There's now been a whole ton of them. And even my time at Hanover, we really saw the evolution of the amenities change big time.
We have in Houston one of the, it's known all over the world, Market Tower.
Yes,
Is it Market Tower Square? at Builders Conference or International Builders Conference all the time. I'm hearing them really come. Have you seen this? Look at what they're doing.
Okay.
This is the epitome of where, apartment buildings are no longer just apartment buildings.
Right.
They are resorts.
Right.
They have everything and anything.
That's true.
And so, the millennials have been used to paying big rents, and so really they can take that same money almost and put it into an investment where they're now getting something back. They're getting equity.
Yeah, very much, especially with the low interest rates. You are really, we have units as small as 1,100 square feet floor plans. We are sold out of that now. We're kind of rearranging and seeing if we can create some more of those. We've had such good interest in them. But yeah, so you can really be into a condo for less than you would be paying in rent and starting to build some equity and do all
Which
this.
is
And then be able to
amazing.
create your own space at the same time.
Amazing. And views galore.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Lots of views.
and then also just space too, downtown, yes, you have a lot of restaurants and everything, but there's not a lot of green space, unless you're down where, is it Discovery Green?
Right.
I know where our apartment is, there's not a lot of green areas. But in the Heights, there's just so much going on. It's so fun. I love going down there. So we're going to just transition a little bit. And what would you say was maybe your biggest failure that became the strongest driving force towards success?
By far, my biggest failure when I was still working for Hanover, my wife and I bought 2 lots in the Heights when it was a lot different than it is now, a lot more rough around the edges, so to speak. And I decided that I was going to build, I'm a concrete builder, I build with concrete. So I decided I was going to build my house out of concrete.
Okay.
But it wasn't my personal space. It was one that I intended on selling and making money on. What I discovered is the market was not willing to pay the premium that it cost me to build that. They weren't willing to pay that premium that I needed to make the same amount of money when I sold it. So, although the house is superior, although the electric bill was probably $100 a month, I could not sell it for enough that it actually made economic sense.
Okay.
And by nature, I like to build things sturdy and heavy duty, and I have a saying that there's very few problems horsepower can't fix. So we always like to have big powerful motors, and we love big strong concrete columns and big timbers and all that stuff.
Big trucks, big all that
all
stuff.
that
That
stuff.
guy stuff.
Yeah, we love all that stuff. But what I learned is we're not in business to stroke our ego, and so that's really not a great sustainable business model. So you really need to. How that helped me is that you learn to look at your product through the market's eyes and rather than your eyes.
Exactly.
And while we always want to build the best quality we possibly can, there is an upper limit to what the market will accept. And so you have to make that determination at some point. We also develop a lot of apartments. So we go through this exercise all the time. Everyone would love the latest and greatest Carrera look-alike countertops. But when it comes to renting an apartment, sometimes the market's not really ready to pay 10 cents or 20 cents more per square foot for you to justify that cost in the front end. So what I learned is you have to look at everything through those financial eyes and not compromise on quality, but maybe compromise on trendiness sometimes.
Right. Because trends are for a period.
That's true too.
You have to look at the longevity.
Yes.
Because this building that you're building probably isn't going to get renovated for 10, 15, maybe 20 years.
Exactly.
And you have to go for that longevity.
Yes.
So, right now putting in Navy cabinets, beautiful, they're fabulous. But how long is that going to last before they're looking old?
Right.
We always say in the home staging side of the business is that, when we go to start marketing your house, it's no longer about you.
Right.
And whether you like what we do or whether you don't, sorry, it's not about you. It's 100% about the buyer, because that's who we're worried about, or not worried about. That's who we're looking at.
That's your audience.
They're the ones that are going to say, did we do a good job or not? Are they going to fall in love with your house?
Right.
And same thing on the building. You have to look at the end buyer. And we all would love to go and put all this fabulous stuff in. but there's budgets on everything,
Right.
and we have to look at those budgets. So anyway, that's awesome.
Well, I'd like to flip that around a little bit. I'd like to
What's
know
that?
your opinion.
Uh-huh.
What was the most trendy design concept that you guys saw that kind of came and went, that was so hot for a while, and now if you saw it would, because it really, the Navy cabs is an interesting example, but there's a lot of those really trendy things that are really hurts you in the long run.
You know, I would say really that this whole the printed tile has, you know, it's that farmhouse style, and I've seen it just overdone in some houses, and I'm like, it's only going to be a window, you know, and then that's when you do it like in your kitchen and in your bathrooms and everywhere. That's a lot to rip out, you know, and so it's fine to do a little bit. Great, enjoy it, but don't go over and above, you know. And I always like to stick to classics, you know, because again, when you do a house, put your crazy designs in those movable pieces versus in what's staying in that house, you know, because that house is going to endure a lot longer than the trend will endure.
Very good.
So, what's the greatest advice you've ever been given?
Oh boy, I've worked for a lot of characters that have a lot of one-liners. What would be the greatest? That's a hard question. Probably the one that has stuck with me that people really hate to hear me say is the world's shortest pencil is better than the world's longest memory.
I like that one.
People really hate it when I tell them that.
No, that is good. That is good. I'm listening to, I think it's called Unstoppable Positivity or something like that. It's Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh yeah.
Okay, his book, and it was on my Audible, and I'm constantly listening to Car University, and I'm like, well, I don't know what this is all about, but I'm gonna listen to it. And he keeps on talking about, you know, and somebody told him this: your past is not your destiny.
Okay.
You know, which is true. It's you have that choice to change anything. You can erase anything and move forward. You know, even everything that's these hard things that have happened, you can erase that. Well, it's there, but it's what are you going to do? Let's go forward. So, what do you love about Houston?
I love that it is a great place to have a career. There's so many opportunities that are here in Houston. You know, it's one of those, my kids are involved in kid type sports and dance and all that. So I love when I end up talking to a dad or something, and they're in some unique business that really, you have to have the giant industry that we have here, and that spawns all these spider little industries that you would never imagine as a career.
Exactly.
So I love its diversity,
Yeah.
and I love that it's a great place to start a business and to raise a family. And there's so many things. All the lifestyles here are represented. You can live in the burbs and have a cool giant house in the Woodlands, or you can have a smaller, redone bungalow in the Heights. And
or you can have a massive place in River Oaks.
There you go. You can have that as well. Only a few of us can have that.
Yeah, that's true. But there is the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I love that too. You know, I always think, I'm like, gosh, Lord, you are so good. I would have never had the business that I have here if we had stayed up north in Cape Cod. And I never thought that we would leave Cape Cod. But then we got the phone call to come to Houston. And I was like, okay, I would have never had this business. And I praise God for it. You know, Houston just gives you so many opportunities, and love the people, love the opportunities. And I love how all these different businesses can connect to one another. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for coming and joining me on this beautiful rainy day, which nobody's seeing that, but it is raining today. Anyway, and it has been so much fun just getting to know you a little bit, and look forward to working with you in the future. And everybody, just thank you so much for joining us today on Around H-Town with Simple Elegance, and we will see you soon. Have a great day.